So good evening everyone and welcome to the last game at Rush Green of the season. It's the last game of the Premier League 2 for West Ham. Still 2 to go for Leicester as the sides are almost but ready. I'm Ollie Aldis and I'm joined with Dave Martin to my right hand side. Dave, how are you doing?
Really good, thank you.
Good stuff, good stuff. Well, it's lovely weather. It should be a good game. Of course, both sides, West Ham with more something to play for compared to their opponents, Leicester, this evening, but it should still have the recipe of a game, a free-flowing game where Leicester don't really have much to play for. Have you had those kind of games in your career, Dave, where maybe the other team might have something to push for, but you just have something really just to play for pride?
Yeah, I think tonight, obviously, the big motivation would be to finish above Tottenham. Obviously, I believe that West Ham are the highest scorers in the league so far, so to have little things like that and obviously to finish above Tottenham would be great, as any West Ham fan would tell you. But it's important these players go out and, you know, obviously this is the last game of the normal season, but can they stake a claim for the playoff games coming up? So that's important for them now to put in a really good performance for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And here the teams are coming out. Of course, Tottenham still have 2 to play, but this is the end of the campaign for Leicester. West Ham, however, will have a playoff game to come, which will be announced next week. But here are the team lineups for this evening's match. So, for West Ham, it's 4 changes made by Steve Potts since their 2-0 win at Norwich last week. In goal, of course, is Jacob Knightbridge. It's Michael Forbes and Sean Tarima back in the side alongside Ezra Meyers. It's the same midfield with Sean Moore on the right-hand side and making his debut, number 11, Emeka Adiele, starting after he was benched versus Norwich. And then, of course, it's the classic midfield duo of Patrick Kelly and Lewis Orford, who scored a lovely goal last weekend against Norwich City. And then the front three in the side, Dan Rigg coming in for George Earthy, Kamari Swaya on the left-hand side, and top goal scorer back at Rush Green after his stint at West Brom. His first game since the 1st of December here at Rush Green is number 9, Callum Marshall. Of course, the bench, Josh Briggs, Finlay Herrick, Keenan Apaya Forson comes back after his loan from Dagenham and Redbridge, Alicia Suwanmi and Josh Ajala. For the away side, coached by Ben Petty, it's 1 change since their 3-0 win against Stoke City. In comes number 4, Ben Nelson, the 20-year-old, after a time out with a leg injury. Of course, it's the same other 10 in goal, Brad Young, and looks to be a backline of Merced Ali, Joe Wormleighton, the captain, and Brandon Cover with Ben Nelson. Arjun Reiki in the centre of midfield with Sammy Braybrook and Will Alves just in front of him. They'll have to be careful for Will Alves this evening after he scored an early brace against Stoke City. Silko Thomas and Wanya Marcel on the wings with Chris Popov leading the line for the Foxes. So both sides almost ready to get matters underway. What have you made of West Ham? Have you been able to see them much this season so far, Dave?
Yeah, I've seen them a couple of times this season, but I've also been able to go and see them train quite a lot. And you know, when you see them training the way they're flying about, you can see a lot of them will be able to hopefully eventually play higher. The last game I've seen, obviously with Derby County at home, it was a really good team performance and definitely worthy winners. So hopefully again tonight they can push Tottenham all the way and hopefully make Tottenham win. But if they don't, you know, being top of the table tonight would be a really good achievement.
Absolutely. Well, they've had form throughout the season of title contenders. It's Leicester to get us underway, who'll be playing from right to left as they play it out to this left-hand side. Of course, they are the highest goal scorers in the Premier League too. And now they've just got back Callum Marshall. Did you watch him closely when he was at West Brom?
Yeah, obviously he didn't have many minutes at West Brom, unfortunately, but sometimes that's a good experience in itself. So he knows where his level is at and probably what he's got to improve next time to when he goes into a first-team environment that's not West Ham. So there's always experience to be pulled from a situation, even if it's a negative one.
Absolutely. Sean Moore popping up on this right-hand side now, usually been in a more attacking role in previous games, but he finds himself darting down this right-hand side, giving something for Ali to think about for Leicester. He tries to thread in a ball. It's played back to him from that man, Callum Marshall, just forced back. As West Ham are enjoying their first spell of possession early on here in the opposition half. Of course, it's a new look back free for the first time for a while. Sean Tarima and Michael Forbes coming in to that back line with, of course, Ezra Mayers. Made his under-18 debut as a schoolboy. He finds himself playing in the under-21s for West Ham this evening. Leicester City coming forward now. Well, West Ham had the ball in the A half. Leicester have a chance in West Ham's half, and they make the most of it. And it's Popov who pops up with a goal. An early 1-2. Dave, what do you make of that?
It was really a nothing ball into the box. It was obviously a low trajectory. The lad, obviously Popov, just managed to get a flick on it. I think Jacob was really unlucky there. He got a fingertip to it, but just couldn't quite keep it out after it hit the post.
Looked like it dipped just at the last minute, which saw it go past Knightbridge after he managed to try and punch it away. Instead, it awkwardly fell back into that far post.
Yeah, I think Jacob obviously just took that little step inside, and then the touch has almost taken it back inside to the middle, which has made it a little bit awkward for him. But yeah, it was unlucky. Thought he'd just done enough to get around the post, unfortunately. But it's all right, it's early, so hopefully we can come back fighting.
Here they come. Through Kelly, as Moore will hang it in. Well, that's safe hands from Brad Young. 21-year-old loaned out to Notts County a few seasons ago for first-team football. Have you had many incidents like that, Dave, in your career, where maybe a ball came in and it might have just fell quite awkwardly to you?
Yeah, I think where the ball came in so low, I think Jacob was obviously taking his position because of the flight of the ball, but that little touch inside, it looked like it was nearly a great save. Just like I said, he was just a bit unlucky that he couldn't get it a little bit more onto the post.
Well, there they come down this left-hand side through Silko Thomas. Arrived from Chelsea at the end of last summer. He's a top goal scorer, number 11. Leicester just playing it around from left to right. Here's their captain, Joe Wormleighton. Fairly wet pitch, it seems, as you can see the water just spray off the ball as they pass it around. Do you think that could have an impact, or is that what West Ham would have wanted?
To be honest, I was looking at the pitch when I got here, and it looks in great nick. So obviously, Dougie and the ground staff at Rush Green have done a really good job. This is. I wish we were playing on some pitches like this year at Southend. So the lads are really lucky to get a pitch like this.
Absolutely, the difference in pitches now from the top of English football to the rest is fairly seismic. They just try playing it through the lines there down that right-hand side. Here's Tarima. Safely back to Knightbridge as Popov, the goal scorer, just chases him there. Puts him under a bit of pressure.
No!
Here's Ben Nelson, the man back in the side. England under-20 international. Recently scored in the England under-20 game in their 5-1 win against Poland. Will Alves, who of course scored that early brace against Stoke City. 10 days ago. Leicester just forced back. Mari Swire putting Mercer Ali under a spell of pressure. Braybrook, but that's a good interception from Tarima. Have you spent much time with these boys, Dave, at all, the under 21s for West Ham?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mix, really. I remember Jacob coming on pre-season with us, actually, when we went to St Andrews. So obviously I'm always more of a connection with the goalkeepers, but you know, people like Cam up front, obviously he's been in and out, and he's probably one of the older ones now. So Callum Marshall was obviously just coming through at the time. So, but it's good that, you know, we've got such a strong side, obviously, from the under-18s last year, and you know, hopefully that would make the team better and better. But then also give the lads the chance to go out on loan and play, hopefully at a good level.
Absolutely. Of course, the top 12 in this competition do end up getting an invite for the Premier League International Cup for next season. West Ham will, of course, be invited to that competition next season. Didn't have the best of luck against PSV in the semi-final last month. The competitions like that can certainly help a player's development. Do you think sometimes, what do you make of competitions like the Premier League International Cup? Do you think it can sometimes be perhaps a little overwhelming for players to have that much game time? And
well, I think this kind of level under 21s is actually trying to introduce you into first team football. To have these competitions, obviously, you know, is it Eindhoven? They played in the cup a couple of weeks ago. It's good to have these competitions to see what, you know, how good you are against, you know, other players that are, you know, different countries, and it makes it more realistic to try and step into first team football. And that's the goal at the end of the day, is for these lads to have to step into our first team or be good assets to the club and hopefully go out on loan and perform at a high level.
Good work from Callum Marshall there from the heart of the attack, just spraying it out to Sean Moore. As West Ham are just working it back to Knightbridge. There is lovely ball, switched out to the new man, the debutant, Amika Adieli. Orford just assessing his options, and of course back to Michael Forbes. The assistant referee's flag on this near side is raised for an offside from Amika Adieli.
Lewis Orford's at it again, obviously trying to be like the quarterback. He's got some range of passing on him, to be fair. Obviously set pieces, but you know, his open players game as well is pretty special. So nice switch of play there, just a bit unlucky being offside.
He certainly is like a quarterback. He can pick it up from deep and then run into the box. A classic box-to-box midfielder as well. Scored a lovely goal against Brighton recently in the Premier League International Cup, where he started the move and finished it off, nodding it home for West Ham to go into the next round. Good defending there. Well, the referee doesn't think so, and neither do Leicester, as that's a foul from Mercer Ali, as West Ham tried to play it quickly. A bit too soon there, Dave, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it was. I could see what he was trying to do there, but just obviously being needed a bit wider in the channel, unfortunately. But it was the right idea, just a little bit wrong execution.
Here Leicester come down the right-hand side. Ali had to do a bit of running there to try and fetch that ball, but they managed to retain possession, the Foxes. Nelson just back to Brad Young. in the heart of that goal. So 10 minutes so far. Dave, what have you made of both sides? I suppose it's still very early on, but early thoughts?
I mean, it seems that Leicester is sitting a little bit deeper. Obviously, that goes from probably the first team where they're looking to play a little bit more. You know, then bounce triangles, trying to get it out. But you know, it can be dangerous like this if they do get intercepted. So there's risk and reward of it sometimes. Hope we can get a chance here.
Well, this time look promising here as Marshall goes down. He looks to the referee. It was Moore who tried to pick out the ball. Mayer's played it in, out to Moore, and he wrapped his left foot around it. Number 3, Wormleighton.
Yeah, definitely no foul there for me. But as you can see, like Leicester obviously in that kind of medium to low block, just making it hard. So that's why you're going to probably need someone like Lewis Orford to try and pick them passes and in between the lines. Obviously give Callum Marshall up top a little bit of a chance, and Cam obviously as well.
See much of Patrick Kelly this season as well? Of course, plays a lot with Lewis Orford in this side.
I've seen him a lot more in training, so I said I've been lucky enough. Obviously, with Steve Potts been letting me be able to come in and watch and see how they work. And you know, Pat, they just work so hard. That's not just Pat, that's everyone. And said the press that they do normally makes it really tough for teams to get out. Like you said before, the one before, they normally win the ball higher up the pitch and then can lead to a really good counter-attack.
Also been ever present in this under-21 side this season, and reason why they're so high up in the league. Probably next season they'll be looking to go a step further and try and break into that first team. It'll be a throw for West Ham on that far side through Adieli. Kelly just going in short, occupied by Will Alves. Stretch it out to Tarima. Moore is in front of him. Short pass played, and the reverse pass too. Players all around Lewis Orford calling for it, but he favours it to Forbes. That long ball, unable to find a player in claret and blue. He's secured by Brad Young.
Yeah, I think that ball there just needed to be a little bit more height on it, just to let it kind of stay in play and not go all the way through to the goalie. So just a little bit more of execution there would have done better.
Good strength shown from the goal scorer Popov, but brilliant defensive work there from Forbes as he managed to just win it back, as it looked like Popov could have ran away with it there. Swire just put under pressure from their number 4, Ben Nelson, as the referee pulls it back. For a foul in favour of the home side. Orford looking up, finding Swire. Finds himself on the right. Now Rigg. He's enjoyed his time with the under-21s this season as he's broke into this side. Mentioned how the physicality and tempo is, of course, greater than the under-18s, but knows a lot of the players from his stint in the 18s too. Tarima into Moore. Swire just holding his run. Back out to Moore. Good work there from Forbes. Have you seen much of Michael Forbes this season, Dave, when you've had chances to go into training? What have you made of him? Because
yeah, for me, he's a leader, and that's what you want from your centre-back. You know, the way he talks, the way, you know, controls players around him. Doesn't overcomplicate things, but for me, that's what I'd want someone to be in front of me. So I haven't really seen him play too much, but in training, that's the kind of way that he trains every day. Well,
West Ham have their first corner of the game. just after the quarter of an hour mark, and it will be Sean Moore on this near side. He delivers it with his left towards that back post. Punched away from Young, another corner. What would your routine or feelings typically be when the other team, you'd find yourself being in goal and having conceded a corner? What would your...
Yeah, hopefully the ball doesn't come near me, but yeah, I think you just assess if is it an in-swinger, out-swinger. You can have a man around you. There's loads of little things like that your position changes for that. But it's a really good catch from the goalie there and great bit of distribution.
Excellent. It's brought in, aiming for the inside. Popov was there. Marçal just tried to weave it in with his left. Leicester come away with it, but been plenty of West Ham possession since that Leicester goal. Chris Popov, the man for Leicester who scored it. The Welsh under-21 international. Here is Forbes. Or just trying to stick to the outside, but Swires on the inside. He's put under pressure there, the youngster, and Marçal tries to cut it back. It's still alive here, but Silko Thomas couldn't quite get something onto it, but their number 8, Sammy Braybrook, can, and he doubles Leicester's lead in the 18th minute. They couldn't clear their lines, but what a strike that was from Braybrook.
Yeah, obviously a little bit of a sloppy pass there, got given away. A little bit of a heavy touch, looks like, from Ez there. The lads got back in really well and delayed, and unfortunately it just kind of fell to the wrong person on the edge of the box. And it's a great finish, to be fair to him, in the top corner. He couldn't got it in the top corner anymore, I think.
Fortunate there for Ezra Mayers. Braybrook was there to pounce on the opportunity from outside the area to slot it into that side netting. West Ham now find themselves 2 goals down to 0 as Orford will try and pick out a ball to this right-hand side. I believe is... Rima, the players for West Ham calling for it. Marshall just unable to keep that under his spell as it goes through him and then fiercely cleared away by Young. And Marçal, who had a bit to say in that second goal, tried getting on the end of it, but West Ham managed to smoothly win the ball back with Forbes in the heart of that back three. Moore just trying to keep it in. The assistant referee keeps his flag down, but now raises it as the referee thought it was off. The West Ham players incredibly frustrated.
I can't believe he's given it that way, to be honest. Obviously, we're right behind that and can see that, but I think the linesman's more concentrating with the ball's going out of play or not, and not concentrating who touched it last.
It didn't look like it went out. He kept his flag down, and it was the referee who trumped his decision, it seemed.
I think it went out, but it was Sean's pass that obviously hit the Leicester attackers' foot last. So for me, it was the throwing that went the wrong way.
West Ham have the ball in their possession through Forbes. We've seen a lot of it so far. Is Knightbridge a player you keep close tabs on, as well as Anang?
No, I really like Jacob. He was someone that I would look at, and I think, can he step up and play at our level, for, just kind of a taste alone. Obviously, I know he was at Harrow previously, but see, someone like Southend would be another step up, and I think he'd be more than capable of playing for Southend. It's just that he's having a bit tricky time because it seems just a little bit static in front of him at the moment. Just needs a little bit more movement because he's got a wonder of a left foot, to be fair to him, for a goalie. So can he use that obviously possession and that distribution, trying to find the players in between the lines, but he needs a bit of movement up top.
Is that something you'd fancy then, maybe to act like an agent and bring him into Southend for next season?
Well, obviously being a player coach and at Southend is something that I'd always look out. I'd always look, if something was happening to me and something happened to Colin and Dengandi, who would be the next person to step in. So I'm always looking. Obviously, be looking at Brad Young as well. So there's always, you've got to keep your eye out on these things sometimes. But I said Jacob for me is up there, and definitely a candidate for being able to step in to play for Southend. Hopefully one day.
So a scout, a coach, and a co-commentator all at the same time.
Jack of all trades, there some say, master of none.
A throw for West Ham on that far side. Here is Rigg. Knightbridge almost giving time for Popov to pounce. Find its way out to Adieli. Swire is just dispossessed briefly by Wormleighton, but they keep the ball through Marsal, as he has to run all the way back as he had Rigg onto him. Leicester just trying to work it down that right, but in doing so allow an opportunity for West Ham, but I think Marshall and Rigg were on different wavelengths there. What did you make of that slight ball? Because it looked promising.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more looking at how West Ham are pressing today. You can see it's just a little bit disjointed. Maybe the new lads coming in, obviously Dan and Amika. But normally they all press as a team, and if one or two don't quite press with the right timing, it makes it easier for Leicester to get out. So for me, Potsy's got them drilled pretty well. So it's up to these lads, coming in and know what everyone needs to do.
Well, just trying to keep that in, but the assistant referee signals for a Leicester throw.
I mean, that's the problem with obviously Jacob now, is that because it's quite static, and Leicester are actually doing quite well because they're in that kind of medium to low block, and it makes it hard, especially if you don't have any movement to pick out a player.
They don't seem like a side that would be down there. Of course, they haven't been able to qualify for the playoffs, as they find themselves in 22nd. But do you find that something quite unique about under-21 football, Dave? Just before that, we've got Will Alves on the attack. Of course, it seems like at this level, it doesn't matter where you are, you can beat anyone. I suppose that is classic with football in general, but especially at this level, would you say?
I mean, they would have probably looked at it for... Sorry, do you want to...
Well, Moore's attacking here to try and get West Ham back into it. Maybe not the best time to ask a question, as Marshall just flicks it goalwards. And Alves touches it, but that's a heavy touch. Moore fell to floor, but got straight back up. Onto that left-hand side. Leicester just keeping their shape well here. Of course, we're over the halfway point of this first 45. What have you made of it now, Dave?
Yeah, I think at one stage, 4 or 5 minutes ago, it looked like West Ham were just starting to get their passes off, trying to get that little bit of tempo up. But they need to keep moving, because I think Leicester are keeping a really good shape. And it's really about the lads trying to find that little bit of space in between the lines. So obviously call someone like George Earthy, who's really good at that. So I think he's up there for his stats, being number one for receiving the ball between the lines. So it's always, that makes it easier for the pass going forward if you've got someone like that, just working that little bit harder to get the space.
You think there's anyone in this West Ham side that can replicate that job that George Earthy can do?
Yeah, of course, Callum Marshall is probably the candidate, but he needs, obviously, the lads either side of him to kind of move as well. So it just looks a little bit static up top when the lads have got it at the back.
Of course, George Earthy with a brilliant season this campaign. Was injured against Fulham in the first team when he came on late on. But started against Norwich, scored a brilliant goal. Make it 2-0, rifled it into that top corner. Up in Norfolk. So far, West Ham have dominated the possession. Leicester have just been the more clinical. Goals from Chris Popov and Sammy Braybrook. Sammy Braybrook with the pick of the two. A long-range effort as he just scooped it in to the corner. Knightbridge's goal. Notice more down here, in plenty of room down this right-hand side. Do you think that's something Leicester are tactically trying to play too narrow, perhaps?
Yeah, it's just really tricky to get the ball to him. That was obviously a nice bit of distribution by Jacob there. Obviously picking up the number 10 with Cowling. He did really well with his strength there, holding the ball up. Which then, how can they make the most of that advantage when they get that ball in that position?
Adieli just having his touch let him down there. You could hear from his frustration after he tried to receive that switch from Sean Moore. Tried to play it down this left-hand side, calls for offside, but the referee does blow a whistle.
I think that might have just flicked up and hit his hand, unfortunately.
Also, a win for Leicester would see them go on to 20 points. West Ham stay on 42. West Ham were at Leicester's current points total back in November. It was 4th of November. They just won 4-0 at Liverpool. Callum Marshall got a brace that afternoon. That's when they found themselves on 17 points. The Hammers. They tried to get one back through Orford. What a strike from distance. Stings the palms of Brad Young. Good goalkeeping there, Dave.
Yeah, no, really good strike there. You can see that was moving through the air. And I said he's got a good parrying angle as well, so he put it to a safe area, which obviously made it difficult to really counter that.
Had to be alert. Of course, Dave, you're talking about his range of passing, but he definitely showed an element of being able to strike one there.
That's what I like about him, to be fair, Mr. Lewis Orford. He's always a little bit proactive, whether that's balls going forward, in behind, and obviously he just got half a yard there and he had a good shot there. So just unfortunately it wasn't more of a test for the goalie.
Well, just before the half-hour mark, there has been a yellow card, and it's the second goal scorer, Sammy Braybrook, who goes into the book. The first of the evening. West Ham play it short. The ball securely on the studs of Lewis Orford as Forbes finds Moore. Lovely turn there. Good feet from Patrick Kelly. As he tries to feed it into Marshall, he just snatches at it. But good work from Patrick Kelly, Dave. Really
good turn there. Again, when he turned, and he obviously was on the front foot, aggressive, and then just unlucky with the through ball. I said it was well defended by the Leicester centre-back there. Just gliding through that Leicester midfield. So far, the stubborn defending from Leicester sees West Ham trying to figure a way around them. It's Tarima playing it into Moore, but this opens up room behind Sean Tarima as he darts back, trying to chase Silko Thomas.
Michael Forbes occupies the Leicester number 11 as he's forced to the byline, but brilliant strength shown there from Michael Forbes.
Great distances there from Michael. He kept him on the outside, didn't engage too early, and almost bullied him out of play in the end. Some really good defending there.
Helping out his teammate as well, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, it's always easy as a centre-back sometimes to go in too early and almost let the player beat you, but he kept his distances just right, and then at the right time then engaged, and then almost pushed him wide of the goal.
Silko Thomas just booked there, as is Jacob Knightbridge. They try to weave it down this left-hand side. Swire with the first-time pass. Slight miscommunication there as Kelly carried on his run. Here come Leicester. Here's Thomas. Blocked from Kelly again. Nelson just playing it out to this right-hand side. To Brandon Cover. As that's a lovely ball worked in behind as Mayers tries to occupy Popov. Cleared away by Tarima. It falls back to the Hammers as they try to come out of their half, but so far they're unable to. Braybrook has to be careful there as he is in the book. That's good feet from Marçal as he just manages to slow down the tempo. As West Ham were pressing Leicester there, and Marshall looked like he did pull the shirt, but no foul, the referee believes. Lovely footwork there from Will Alves, who just glides past Moore and Tarima. Can he finish off the move? Oh, he can! Leicester 3 goals up to 0 just after the half-hour mark here at Rush Green. Will Alves.
Yeah, just unfortunate there. He's gone on obviously a good run. Looks quite sharp, to be fair to him, but you know, you don't want a player to be allowed to come inside that easy and almost have a shot. So once you keep him on the outside, can we keep him there? You almost want that ball to go on the outside, but once he's come inside, he opens up the whole goal, and there's no pressure on the shot. So hopefully maybe Michael Forbes could have got out a little bit quicker to him. It's made it a little bit more difficult for Jacob, and obviously I think Jacob might say he could maybe got down a little bit quicker, but it's always hard when sometimes when there's bodies in front of you, you can't quite see the strike.
Would you say Forbes as well could have been blocking Knightbridge's view?
Yeah, I think potentially that always makes it a little bit tricky because he obviously wasn't really blocking, but then it was almost in that medium range where it was almost made it a bit unsighted for him. So I think at that stage when you know he's going to shoot, can you just get out and block?
Here's a chance for Marshall here, as it was just poked into him by Patrick Kelly. Brad Young coming well off his line and almost out of his box. Had to be careful there, but West Ham almost had a chance there.
I thought it was a really good chance. It's so quick after the restart. I think he just needed to get away just a little bit quicker with that that left foot. But it was tricky because it wasn't quite sitting for him.
The number 2 Brandon Cover that just came across Marshall to poke it away from his direction, but good improvisation shown from Kelly. Of course, the 3rd goal scorer for Leicester, their number 10 Will Alves. He got a brace of assists for Oliver Ewings last time out against Stoke City. Now he finds himself on the score sheet as Orford tries to get it past Braybook, but that's brilliant tracking back there from the number 7 Marçal. They just lose out on possession. Here's Swire. Does he fancy one from distance? He does. Unable to get any real sort of connection and drags it well wide.
Really good turn there from Cam and got himself in a good position, but just miscued his shot a little bit. So obviously you want to like to see if that one on target if you can.
Almost brushes past Lewis Orford. Where has it really, would you say, gone wrong for West Ham so far in the opening 35 minutes? Because in all fairness, they've dominated most spells of the ball, but they find themselves 3 goals down to 0.
I think in the 2 stages of it really, in possession, they haven't really...
Crunching challenges there, sorry Dave, and there is going to be another yellow card. So far, 4 yellow cards. It's not even been 40 minutes. Poor challenge on Sean Moore, and the man who committed it was their number 4, Ben Nelson.
I think that's the way they play, and obviously that's how Enzo Maresca gets the first team playing, and you do take risks with it, and you know, on that turnover, can we make the best of it? But there's definitely a foul and definitely worthy of a yellow card.
Still down, as medical attention will have to come on and just assess this situation on Sean Moore. Just before the free kick, you were saying about where West Ham could have gone wrong and that it was down to two phases of play.
Yeah, there's two parts really. I think in possession it's just a little bit static. So, you know, when the ball's at Jacob's feet or the defender's feet, it's just finding that space in the pockets. But Leicester are doing well with that kind of medium block. But also when Leicester have the ball, especially them tight, you know, positions when they got it with the goalkeeper, the press isn't quite working today. It just looks a little bit off of what I've seen normally and how they train and how they played the last couple of games.
Does seem very off, not a typical West Ham performance from this season. An anomaly so far, but can they get one back? It will be Orford to curl in a ball towards that back post, and Forbes met it, just couldn't quite keep it down.
Another great ball in there by Lewis. I think he just got ahead of the ball a little bit. Michael Forbes there, just couldn't obviously get his head back and then get it on target because of that.
West Ham just arguing with the referee there, suggesting Brad Young should have gone into the book. As that long ball is met by the head of Sean Tarima. Great track backing there, tracking back from Patrick Kelly again as Knightbridge thumps it out to that left-hand side. Slight heavy touch from Adieli, but he manages to keep it in possession. Here's Mayers. Knightbridge launches it. Looks like Moore could have got it. Young calmly passes it away from Moore, and that's a lovely bit of footwork there from the Leicester fullback, Mursad Ali. Here's cover. Young calmly passing it in to Arjun Reiki. Good touch and a bit of fortune, but Leicester tried to come away with it. Good defending from Tarima, who just cuts that ball played. That was picked up by Kelly. He drives forward. Marshall popping up on the left-hand side this time. And what has most impressed you about Leicester's performance so far?
I think the way they've kept their shape, of course, has made it difficult for West Ham, but they've been really clinical with their chances. So obviously the first goal was a great little flick, and you know the second goal was top corner. Probably couldn't put it in the top corner more if he tried. And it's just you know, the way they're playing out as well. Like you know, I think we maybe could press a little bit better. I'm sure Potsy will get them in at half time and probably sort them out a little bit, organise them a little bit better on that. But yeah, they definitely don't look like they're you know, kind of down. They should be where they are on the table. So it'll be a good test in the second half for West Ham, definitely.
Absolutely. Of course, West Ham won't drop below second, but can still claim top spot, depending on Spurs' results, who have Fulham and Crystal Palace yet to play. They're away to Fulham tonight. Visit Crystal Palace on Monday, so it'll all be tied up come Tuesday, when we'll likely find out who the opposition in the playoffs are for the Hammers. Knightbridge launching one forward. As Moore keeps it in, and that's a good turn as he brings it around. As he strikes it too. Here's Kelly. Looked like he may have fancied to tee it up there as he's just forced to the left. Cuts it back on his right. Here's Orford, and that's struck by Rigg. defending from Leicester as they tried to come away with it. Moore. Safe save there from Brad Young. So far when he's been called upon, he's done the job, Dave.
Yeah, he looks quite secure. He's made the right decisions at the right times and distributed it quite well as well.
What do you make of that challenge from Adiele?
Yeah, it was definitely a strong one. I think in today's game, you can see why he's got a yellow there. Yeah.
Would you say during, well, of course in your career, have you seen those not given, or would you say the way the game is now, that is certainly a yellow, or was that always a bookable offence?
I think, obviously I've been a professional now and was it best part of 20 years, so when I first started it was a little bit more lenient, definitely. That might have just been a foul back in the day, but I said in today's game, it probably has gone in the right way. I think a couple of years ago it went too far where everyone who screamed or fell on the floor, it almost got given a free kick straight away. But I think they've tightened it up over the last season or so.
Who knows, with VAR, that could even end up being a red card. Knowing how that goes, how will this go for Leicester as it's Braybrook, the second goal scorer, who whips it in towards that back post. It was Popov and Wormleighton who were up there, who looked favourites to get on the end of that ball played in.
Yeah, it's a great ball to be fair, but you don't want to see that someone getting the wrong side and almost having an open goal. So you needed a West Ham defender almost with him there.
Brilliant surging run forward here from Orford as he picked it up from deep, and now he's deep in the Leicester half but couldn't quite execute that finish. So far we've seen some great set pieces this evening. Leicester almost had a chance to make it 4. Look at this from Lewis Orford, picking it up just outside the penalty area. You were praising him earlier, albeit the scoreline isn't in their favour, but Lewis Orford's been one of the shining lights in this side so far this evening.
Yeah, I think he's the way he knocks the ball about. His short, medium, long-range passing is exceptional, and obviously his set piece as well. So I think maybe he just rushed that last one. Maybe it wasn't quite on to take the shot there, but hopefully we get one here.
Rigg pounces on that loose touch, and it's another safe save from Brad Young, coming down low.
It was a good opportunity to shoot there, wasn't it? And good handling from the goalkeeper again. So
coming down low and quick, had a few players in front of him, so he had to be wary there. Would you say, Brad Young?
Yeah, it's always tricky them ones. You don't want them to almost give a second ball and then that someone run up with the rebound. So he's done well to hold on to that as well.
As Mursad Ali just unable to keep it in. Albeit he doesn't have a shirt number on the team sheet. He is the number 5. For some reason, wearing plain. Orford once again poking it into Marshall, who just tries to steer it into that far corner. It will be a corner kick. West Ham look like they're starting to get some rhythm here, Dave.
Yeah, really positive run there from Lewis again. Just couldn't quite get enough connection on it. Maybe direct it into one of the corners. Obviously it nicked off the Leicester defender there. So yeah, a bit more positive now for West Ham.
Brad Young just organising his players as that's a high ball whipped in. Forbes does meet it once again, but unable to keep it down low.
You can tell Michael's probably the strongest player on the pitch, and you can see they're almost setting that up. Him hanging at the back post, just couldn't quite get over it, unfortunately.
Rising over Popov, able to find the back of the net. So far, been really impressed with Brad Young. Had a safe pair of hands, and like you mentioned, hasn't spilt it yet when the strikes that have come towards him have had some power behind them.
Yeah, I think it's been a solid game for him. I think he's had a chance with most of them. All the saves that he's made, you'd expect him to make, but still got to do it at the end of the day and be solid. So obviously there's a second half to go. Hopefully West Ham can test him a little bit more in the second half.
There's going to be a throw. 5 minutes added on in this first half. There is going to be a throw for Leicester on that far side. We're into the first minute of stoppage time. Hopeful ball played from Braybook, but Popov picks it up. Forbes is onto him. It's a lovely turn from the third goal scorer, Alves, as he manages to find room for Marçal. Popov just trying to hold off his run. Marçal up against Meyers. Whilst trying to take it around the outside, he actually takes it outside of the perimeter of the pitch, and it will be another throw-in. Any standouts for you from the Leicester side so far in this first 45?
Popov up top, obviously he got the first goal, but he's worked really hard. I don't know whether he'll be able to continue that in the second half. Always pressing. Obviously number 10 for them. Will Alves has done really well. Obviously that last goal, obviously cutting inside, really positive. Obviously the goalie's done well as well, but that he's all made saves that you'd expect him to make. I just hope in the second half that West Ham can make it even more difficult for him.
And of course, what do you think? How does Steve Potts approach it? How do you think he'll approach this half-time team talk? Is he more of calm and composed, and more of a heated?
No, I think just the modern day coach and managers, they are more calm and composed unless it's really needed. Obviously being 3-0 down at half-time isn't ideal, but you know, the way that he coaches, very concise and very knowledgeable in what he says to the lads. So I'm sure he will obviously be stern, but today hopefully it'll just be more right now. Let's try and take the positives out of this game.
Of course, what are the characters like for this West Ham side? You've obviously been around them.
Yeah, I mean, you've got people like Lewis Orford who've been West Ham fans all their life, so they know what it means to the club, even when you put the shirt on at whatever level that may be. So there's a few, obviously in training as well, it gets a bit narky sometimes when they're winning and losing, so you know it means a lot to them.
West Ham with a late spell of possession in their final third. Marshall just unable to keep that under his spell. Into the third minute now. We've added on time as Thomas manages to find Ali.
They've got to be careful now, the lads not getting too demotivated and too at a point where they let it affect the rest of their game. So they've got to be patient, and hopefully they can start putting some passes together where it will cause Leicester a few more problems.
Well, as you mentioned, they're the highest scorers in the league. They scored 52 goals in the Premier League 2 this season, West Ham. Callum Marshall, of course, has scored 16 of those. Still yet to really come alive for Callum Marshall. His first game at Rush Green since December. Moore in towards Swire as he just slides over. He tries to pass it to a player in claret and blue, and Alves is brought down there. Leicester have a chance, potentially another chance, where they may favour to put a ball into the box, and it does always feel like that fourth goal to make it from 3-0 to 4 always feels like even more of a journey is required from the side trying to get back in it. 30 seconds left. Mayers just keeping tabs on the Leicester player, but they try and play it down this right-hand side through Marçal. Forbes with some defending to do. Wins the throw. The West Ham just trying to see out this first half now. And that is the end of the first 45. A brilliant start for Leicester in the first half. Goals from their number 9, Chris Popov. Sammy Braybrooke picking up with picking out an absolute peach of a goal for their second, and then Will Alves making it 3-0. So of course, the half-time break.
They get red screw in their garden every day.
So here was their first goal, Dave. Looking back at it, or their second in fact, it's Braybrook. Just looking at that, Knightbridge on the floor.
Yeah, I think Ez obviously gave the ball away originally, and I think the lads did well to really get back inside and stop play. But I think when the ball came to Ez again, just needed a little bit more composure, just try and pick someone out. But it was unfortunately put it in top corner.
That strike from Alves low. Knightbridge just unable to keep it out. But we were saying how the defending there just let down Knightbridge, you'd say.
Yeah, it's you don't want your one of their attacking players to come inside so easy from that wide position, and then at that point when you think he's going to have a shot, at some point you do need to put pressure on the ball. Because he was in that kind of mid-range in front of the goal, it made it difficult for Jacob. I think Jacob would still think he want to do a little bit better, but it happens in football. It's about the second half, the experience that you learn from that first half, and obviously you can't let it happen again.
Absolutely. Well, that is the end of the first half. 3-0 to Leicester. Of course, West Ham yesterday, we released the latest episode of our new Academy series, Up and Coming. A brand new series that takes you behind the scenes to discover the brightest talents emerging from the West Ham United Academy. In this episode, we shine the spotlight on our FA Youth Cup winning captain, Gideon Kodua.
East London's home, Ghanaian roots, custom house. One of 5 brothers, dreams of their own, and mine was football. Making it to the top and making it at West Ham. I'm Gideon Kodua, and this is Up and Coming. All my brothers played football when I was growing up. My memories are literally just me playing with them in either Newton Cage or Conley Park. We used to come to this cage after school, get our ice creams, and then play a five-a-side. My brother took me to my first Sunday league team called Royal Falcons. That's kind of where my football journey started. Royal Falcons was a really good team. I used to score a lot of goals as a striker. Times like that just bring back good memories. I grew up in Custom House. It was a very, very harsh area. A lot of knife crime and just crime in general going around my area. It was hard to just try to keep out of it, but my parents done a really good job of not letting either one of us fall into that life. The journey of my family's been tough. We lived in a 3-bedroom house. There were 7 of us, so there was literally 3 people in one room. Back then, I loved it because it made us all close. Yeah, in Ghana, they also came from humble beginnings. I haven't been to Ghana since I was really young, but what I can remember of it, I loved it. My family, they mean everything to me. They've helped me since I was young, and they still help me now. Joe is extremely hardworking. When it comes to sport or just anything in life, we're very competitive. We push each other and we inspire each other. Hopefully that could just spiral us to the top.
Gideon was always the special one out of us. Growing up, he's always been a hyperactive one. Always running about, always into sports. Football's always been his first love. From an early age, Gideon showed potential. A dream to make it to the top. 2 brothers, both turning pro in good sports. Like, the chances of that happening is very, very slim. It's magical.
This is Gideon's debut at Royal Falcons. It's a local team. Gideon smashed it. Like, he was doing stuff that these kids weren't doing, going around players, scoring. I was like, wait. And after, just reminded me of the times where I used to play FIFA with him, I used to go park with him. I could see him just copying stuff that he sees on TV, stuff that I did, and just, yeah, that's what happened after. On his debut, he scored 5 goals. I think a week after that, that's when this happened. I went to the next training session. I was like, I got good news. You want to come to the side? I was like, okay, cool. Went there, and I was like, there's interest in a couple teams, and one of them is Arsenal. Are you free next week to go to the trial? And I was just so proper gassed with him. After when I went home, I only went home and I told him.
How do you feel now you're on the 6th week? Now you're on this trial for Arsenal till summer. How do you feel?
Good.
Look at the camera. How do you feel?
Good.
Are you sure? How happy are you? Show me by your face. No, show me properly, man. How happy are you?
The academy journey is really scary. Like, for me, it was really like a situation where you, as a parent or brother, you always worry about your academy player because you just never know what's around the corner, and the sort of things that they have to fight against. You have to fight against puberty. You have to fight against mental health, like rejection, acceptance, and you've got to balance the highs with the lows, really. And taking this back to Gids, I feel like throughout his academy journey, handled that really well.
I remember the Arsenal one exactly, because they pulled us into a meeting room, and they basically told all the parents that had their thing, they left. So I knew it was us left. So they told us, and was like, yeah, I'm going to tell him. So when we got on the train, he asked me, what did they say? And I had to tell him, and I could see his eyes just watering and stuff. So, and after when we went to Southend, told us straight, like, I think after a couple, we couldn't go to Southend normal because it was too far. It was at Chelsea for a bit, that kind of died. Then he went to Norwich. He went to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace was straight, yeah. Then Norwich is what was long because he was getting back and forth to Norwich. And it wasn't, yeah, they told him, like, I think after a couple months, right? Told him it's done. And after he literally, that's when Gideon said, you know what? I took it personally. He went and just started training, like doing crazy hours, putting in mad work, going any training as possible. He was even doing futsal at one point. And yeah, Gideon was just on it.
Getting rejected by Southend and Arsenal showed me how much I love football. And yeah, that was probably my first experience of being rejected. It taught me a lot, made me tougher. It just made me more determined, really. I ended up getting into Newham District just from all the hard work and commitment. That was a big plus at the time. Just finally being accepted and given an opportunity to just show myself. George is a very, very down-to-earth person. When things weren't going well, I would kind of go into my shell, and he would always just try to bring me out, get the best out of me, which is amazing.
I met Gideon when he was 8 years old. It was a kick satellite session in Canning Town area. Gideon showed a lot of potential as much as other players. He had a lot of physical attributes. He was quick, very strong. He was always making late runs and scoring goals. I saw a lot of improvement and a lot of potential in him. I recommended him into the West Ham Development Centre. He was assured of himself as well. He knew what he wanted, and he was like, George, believe me, take me West Ham, send me West Ham. I'm confident I can take it with both hands. He went on trial at West Ham. After 2 or 3 weeks, I got the call saying that they want to sign him. So yeah, I was really pleased for him. He's liked by everyone. He's very likeable. He's very approachable. He's polite. He's friendly. He just comes across mature. He'll say hello, greet all the coaches. I think he's done so well to just progress and become a young man, and he still maintained that through from the age of 7 or 8 years old all the way now to 19. He always wants more. He always wants to get better. And he always wants to do himself and his family proud. I trust his ability, and I know he will continue to progress. Being in and around the 21s and the first team, I'm sure he's going to keep believing that he can reach that ultimate goal and play for the West Ham first team one day.
We're going to work continuous. Follow your pass, calm, hole, manage Jack and how quick we go with it. Got your movement patterns to come after play in, to set back, and then you read off Toby. We're going to work at it for 3 minutes non-stop. Let's go, play.
When we sat down pre-season last year, and you're looking at the different characters and who's going to lead the team and who's going to be out there every day, who's going to be setting the standards in the dressing room, who's going to be the first one to be doing their jobs and encouraging the younger first years and showing them the ropes and being a bit of a sounding board. It was a no-brainer. Me, Kevin, Mark sat down and decided that Gids was going to have the armband for the year, and obviously he was so proud. He was so proud when he was given that. It's an honour, isn't it, to be captain of the under 18s. I think he grew into the role incredibly well. I'm not going to say struggle, but he found it a little bit of getting used to. He wanted to find his own way. He's not a screamer and a barker, but he really did lead by example. He sat down, he had a meeting with Nobes and had a chat, and what is it like? What's it like to be a good, successful captain? He read some books, he listened to some podcasts, so yeah, he found his way. It was amazing to see him lift it. It really was, and that age group I've come through from sort of 13s all the way through, so to see him all, and I've got a special bond with all of them players, but to see him lift it and to see the utter relief, what a feeling like for him and have his mum and dad and his brothers and everyone in the stand. It couldn't have happened to a better person, because talk about hard working, dedicated, doing it properly every day. Yeah, that sums him up, and to be rewarded with that was amazing.
The amount of players that were in that team and the talent that was in that team, and they chose me to be the person to lead, it meant the most to me. Especially coming from East London, being a captain of West Ham, it's huge. Doing what we done in that final and just the whole season itself, just walking out the lads, it meant a lot. Standing in the tunnel, I think that's when it really started to hit. This is a final. Coming out onto the pitch and hearing the fans to the right of us, that was amazing. Like hearing blowing bubbles when you're coming out, it gives you goosebumps. It really means a lot that 9,000 fans showed up to an under-18s game.
Yeah, you're right, so we may have already had Earthy against Noble. Oh, it's given away. Massive moment here. Goes for the chip. Oh, Gideon Kadua makes it free and scores one of the great goals in an FA Youth Cup final.
As soon as he missed that ball, I knew I was going to chip the keeper. Yeah, when I saw the net ripple, I think it took me like a second or two to realise what I've actually done. All I can remember is myself literally screaming and end up hitting the knee slide, topped off with a gritty, which I planned the day before with the lads.
I remember I came in late and West Ham were down. And after a goal in it, West Ham scored. And after Gideon scored that goal, when I mean I lost my head, look, you can see this picture here. My hat's not on properly. I nearly threw my hat. I took my hat off and I nearly threw it. And I was like, oh my, that's my brother. And after all these, the West Ham fans turned towards me and go, wait, that's your brother? I was like, yeah, that's my brother. And it was just like a nice feeling. It felt like the fruits of Gideon's labour and the fruits of our labour have literally paid off in that moment there.
That day I was so happy. I don't know what to do. I was so happy. When he scored, even where I was on the lane, I said, that's my son. That's my son. I was shaking. The people are sitting behind me. They said, Madam, is that your son? I said, yes, it's my son. Now I feel proud on him. I feel proud on him. Since then, I know he's going forward. Since then things are moving slowly. And I know it's going to be what I need for him.
The emotions that went through my body when I when I scored that goal and when we won, that's probably the best ever feeling I've ever had. I'm Gideon Kodia. My journey's just beginning. This is up and coming.
Welcome back, everyone, as we're underway for the second half. There's been a change for both sides. For West Ham, Michael Forbes has made way for number 12, Josh Briggs. Do you know much about Josh Briggs, Dave?
I think I've seen him a little bit, but not too much. So hopefully it's not too serious for Michael for reasons coming off. But yeah, hopefully he has a good game and settles it down. And hopefully West Ham can then get the next goal and kind of turn the tide a little bit.
So, of course, some excellent goals scored in that first half from Leicester. They looked to try and get it in behind, but Tarima was there just before the man that got the Foxes underway. Chris Popov leading the line as they tried to feed it down that right-hand side, but Sean Moore is there. Had an energetic first half. Found himself in room down that right-hand side. Marshall, who didn't have much of a say in that first half, plays it into Swaya. Tries to take it round, calls for a foul, but the referee doesn't believe anything was in that, and Orford just tries to wrap his foot around it. Marshall all of a sudden popping up on this left side, and then it's wrapped in with his left foot by Adieli. West Ham on the front foot. You could imagine that being the case coming out, being 3-0 down to Dave.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the energy's gone up. So it's just how long they can maintain this, and if they can get a goal soon, you never know. So
it's a good ball in. Marshall was there. It will be a corner as it came off their number 4, Ben Nelson. Just above Marshall's head, it seemed. Unable to get any connection, but that was a threatening ball played in, wasn't it?
Really, really good ball. I think he might be even a little bit disappointed with that. Callum not obviously getting something on that, so there was almost in front of the goal there, should be hitting the target.
The first corner of the second half, and it goes to the home side, and they get the first goal of the second half. Kamari Swaya raising high to nod it home. Just what the Hammers would have wanted, Dave. 3-1.
Really good ball in there from the set piece. I think it was Sean Moore. And then just a little bit of movement and good direction on the header. The power obviously beats the goalie, even though it's straight down the middle. But I said that first goal now, this early, you never know.
Exactly. Unfortunate for Brad Young as he was unable to get anything to keep that out, or was that just a brilliant header from Swaya?
Yeah, I think obviously how close it was always makes it difficult. It looked like he came towards the ball a little bit. It's just obviously closed down his reaction time a little bit. But I think from there, that range, you know, you can't really be too critical of that. Really nice bit of distribution there from Jacob. So there's a little bit more energy. So hopefully there's a few more passes for him to pick out.
They've rejuvenated West Ham and they look to fire it down this left-hand side, and it is going to be another yellow card. It's been a fairly feisty game so far. Plenty of yellows handed out, Dave.
Yeah, I think you obviously got on the other side there, so that you can, as I said, the energy in this second half straight away has picked the lads up, and another threatening position for obviously Lewis Orford to put a ball in. See, when you go to the ground, don't know whether he did get a nick or not, but from obviously the referee's perspective, he didn't.
It was good work from the debutant, Emeka Adieli. Like you said, Dave, another chance for Lewis Orford to wrap his foot around it. Angle to work with. As he strikes it, rather than tries to play it in to find a player in claret and blue. Rigg towards Marshall, who sprays it out to Orford, popping up on this left-hand side, but he's got the ability to try and put in a ball, but just unable to find Rigg. But he finds the ball at his feet. Marshall on the underlap.
Really good again there. Obviously Callum putting that tackle in there. I know I keep going on about it, but the energy is just so different straight away. And obviously that early goal there will definitely give him a bit of belief.
Brandon cover, assessing his options, taking his time. Leicester's 3-goal lead is diminished to 2 after the header from Kamari Swaya early on in the second half. Popov trying to control it, but Orford will play it in to the middle of the park and spray it out just after a lovely bit of footwork there. As West Ham are well and truly on the front foot here. Rigg back to Adieli, tries to pull it back, but Young was alert.
Really good ball out there from Lewis Orford again. He's had good link-up play, obviously from Amike. Just wanted to take that ball a little bit earlier there, just before that, his last touch. Just can you get that shot on target?
Good header away from Mayers. Now Leicester look to try and break forward and restore their 3-goal lead. Of course, Leicester have only won 1 game out of their last 5. This, of course, would make it 2 in their last 6. Were winless in 4 games before their 3-0 win against Stoke City. They're finding themselves a decent bit of form before the end of the season. As things stand, there are going to be 2 substitutions made by the manager, Ben Petty. Off comes their number 6 on for the number 14. Logan Briggs is introduced for Arjan Reiki. Logan Briggs, of course, the 19-year-old. 11 appearances in the Premier League 2. And Jamari Lindsay makes way, or comes on, for Mursad Ali. Samani Richards, another 19-year-old, 17 appearances in the Premier League 2, 3 goals and 5 assists to his name. Logan Briggs, of course, coming on. Missed the last game versus Stoke, but featured in the 11 games before that. So he's been a player that's featured for Leicester a lot. Now Ben Petty brings him on for the remainder of this game to try and see this out for the Foxes after such a strong first half where they managed to hit West Ham on the counter a few times. They tried to look to do the same, and that's a lovely ball played in behind, but Knightbridge had to be alert. Excellent there, would you say, from Jacob Knightbridge, Dave?
Yeah, I think originally he was retreating, and obviously them straight balls are always tricky to read sometimes, but he ended up making the right decision and was brave, and obviously got down at the striker's feet there.
Cleared it away. Leicester having to defend this West Ham opportunity here as Marshall takes it to the byline. It will be a goal kick. It was the number 4, Ben Nelson, who's covered a lot of ground this evening for the Foxes. Just being tested there, but it will be a goal kick.
Really unlucky there from Dan Rigg. I said if the weight of that pass or was a little bit more into Callum Marshall, I said that would have been a really good chance. So, but you said you want to keep this energy up, keep the pressure on. The press is so much better. But again, there just making contact just that little bit earlier than it was in the first half. So if they can keep that up now, it definitely put Leicester on the back foot.
West Ham will continue to try and put them under the back foot, but so far, whatever Steve Potts said, it's worked. Leicester now trying to play more long balls. It feels like this second half from the Foxes as he pulls it back. Popov strikes it with his left. Brilliant defending. Calls for handball, but it's still alive as Popov tries to pull it back again. Amani Richards.
Great block there from Josh Briggs. So yeah, was really brave. Was really sharp getting to him. Some really good defending there. So I said the next goal here is going to be really important.
Mayers into Patrick Kelly. Quick passing here from the Hammers and an excellent takedown from Rigg. Marshall popping up on the left once again. Rigg centre. Kelly may favour to have a go. Instead he'll try and edge it towards Moore. Unfortunate there, Dave.
The intensity has obviously gone up to 10 notches, which is really good to see. So whatever Potts he's done or said at half-time has really made a difference. So said he was just unlucky. They need to get that pass off or get a shot off. So it wasn't quite one or the other then.
How do you think Leicester have to try and cope with this? But of course, they go into the break with a 3-goal lead. West Ham then come out, they score a goal, and they're now on the front foot. What do you think are going through their minds? How do you think they'll want to control the game now?
Well, I hope they are feeling a bit of pressure because we've all been there. We've been 3-0 up at half-time, and you know the team comes out and you get an early goal. So
can they get another goal? It's a lovely pass played from Orford to Rigg, just pushed off his balance, no foul, and it is a corner.
Again, all over the pitch, you can see the intensity has gone up. So, like I said, Leicester will be definitely feeling this bit of pressure now. So if they can get the next goal, another goal soon, it really will set a cat amongst the pigeons.
And they get a goal here. That was intended, that corner kick. Plenty of height on it. Looked like it was heading for the clouds at one point.
Yeah, I think obviously slightly overhit. But I said I'll give him that one. He's been excellent tonight, Lewis Orford, with his delivery and his open play distribution.
Absolutely. One of the positives in that first half performance for the Hammers was Lewis Orford's display. That's a sloppy pass as he's unable to find Mayers. Popov almost backheeling it, which allowed West Ham to regain the ball, but instead they'll still come away with it through Marçal. Chasing it to the byline as it's cleared away. As Braybrook gets a wild touch. Falls to Will Alves, the third goal scorer for the Foxes this evening. Good work between the two there. Alves in a dangerous area. A good header from Marçal, unable to steer it into the corner. And Knightbridge calmly collected it.
Just got to be careful with that counter-attack from Leicester because obviously West Ham are starting to get on top, but a little loose pass here from Callum Marshall caused all that bit of pressure for Leicester.
Kelly playing a clever pass into Swire, who pops up in the centre. Takes it round Orford, pokes it into Rigg. Adieli fiercely puts the ball into the dangerous area. Kelly was there at the back post, albeit unable to steer it home.
Another great ball there from Amika. He's got a really nice left foot, caused a lot of problems in there. So he just wanted someone just to kind of gamble on that. And I think was it Patrick Kelly at the back post there? Just couldn't get something on it.
Brad Young just taking his time, has to be wary there. Have you found that? Have you had many times at Southend where you'd have players really coming in close? How would you often go about playing with the ball at your feet at Southend, Dave, this season?
I think 21's level, you're almost given a little bit more of a license, a little bit more leeway to try a few things. I think that is a thing when you move into first team football, you know, your risks you take a little bit less, and because you don't want to, especially with away crowd, and you don't want to build up pressure from that. So yeah, it's good that, you know, the press for West Ham in the second half, you're definitely getting in touch a lot quicker.
Good passage of play this from Leicester. As Marçal finds Alves. Good block from Briggs. Corner kick for Leicester, their first of the second half.
He's done a few good things, Josh Briggs, in this second half, so I'm pleased that he's come into the game. So it's not always easy coming in, especially the second half.
Just taking their time here, as it is Silko Thomas in short. Here is Thomas. Towards that back post. A free kick for West Ham. What have you made of Josh Briggs? As someone who you've been around him, have you made much of him as a person and player?
I believe he the last game. I believe he came on the last game, and it's always hard sometimes coming on in games as substitutions, especially as a defender. But today, you know, you can see that he gets into positions early. He's quite agile. He's obviously made a great block before, and he's defended quite solidly since he's been on. So I hope we can keep putting pressure up on Leicester and make it a little bit harder for him.
Do you think it changes anything for the goalkeeper as well when you have a man change in front of you in the defence?
Yeah, I think obviously the relationships that you know, they always tend to be.
Marshall into Rigg, a low strike, but it's blocked. Marshall keeping it alive. Orford just trying to wriggle his way through trouble, and instead Leicester look deadly with another counter, and it's that man there, Silko Thomas, driving forward, lofting it up to Popov. A good first touch, but couldn't quite keep it under his spell as he leaps over Knightbridge to prevent clattering into the West Ham goalkeeper.
Very good defending from Ezra there. Got goal side, managed to, you know, kind of see the ball through there to Jacob. So it's all become a little bit end to end, which is obviously going to be tough for the lads, but that's what the West Ham kind of need to try and get that next goal.
Well, just past the hour mark. West Ham still with their foot on the gas, but of course Leicester looking deadly when they break away. Tarima had to get a decisive touch there, but this is a promising opportunity. 2-on-2 as Leicester come forward. Thomas looking up and spraying out a lovely ball, and an excellent touch from Marçal. Brilliant save from Knightbridge. Straight at him, but he had to stand strong, and that struck from distance. Always rising from Brandon Cover.
Really good goalkeeping there from Jacob. Like I said, it's become a bit of a basketball game now, which is obviously going to be tough for the lads. And he had a clear shot there, but Jacob did really well. Was really patient and made him almost try and beat him. But because he stood up for so long, it put pressure on the striker, which ended up making Jacob making a good save, even though it was straight at him.
Top work from Knightbridge. An excellent touch from Marçal. It's Tarima. Marshall. Just tried to take it on the inside. Marnie Richards brings it away. Marçal once again down this right-hand side, occupied by Rigg, but he finds Alves in a pocket of room as he tries the skillful back heel. Brilliant work here from Patrick Kelly as he moves the ball up the pitch, so unfazed from that Leicester pressure. And Orford will then spray it out to this right-hand side. Brilliant work from the two midfielders there, Dave.
I think most of the team have done 20 box-to-boxes in the last 2 minutes, so it's been quite end-to-end. I'm not sure whether Leicester will want this. See, they've still got the 2-goal advantage, but I said it's going to be tough for the lads. It's just who can capitalise on these chances now.
Feels like it's all of a sudden just become end-to-end. It's just out of nowhere. Do you think that's because, of course, West Ham have been pushing? What do you think that's the reason for, if anything?
I mean, for me, West Ham probably want this a little bit where it becomes a little bit more open, but because you are chasing the game. Maybe it's a little bit naive from Leicester because you'd want...
Thomas up against Moore. Knightbridge with the save.
Yeah, Leicester would probably want a little bit more of a solid game where, you know, how it was in the first half. It was really hard to break down, but obviously that's probably a learning curve for them as well.
One thing that I've been very impressed with from the Leicester players is the midfielders when they've managed to pick out those passes to the wide players. They've had great passing in the middle of the park, and talking about that, it's been the exact same for West Ham too, with a lovely ball played from Kelly. Here's Orford. Just too short there for Moore, and Leicester will try and come away with it once again. Driving run forward from Alves as Kelly does his defensive duties, but in doing so gives away a foul. He has words with the referee.
Yeah, I thought it was quite a fair challenge, to be honest. Thought he obviously was on the other side, maybe pulled him back slightly there.
No
yeah,
real
so
pull or clip.
Yeah, I can see why the referee's probably given that.
So Braybrook towards Lindsay. Jamari Lindsay, of course, one of the substitutes who's made way, or come on, for this second half. Young. Trying to find Marçal, but that's good defensive work from Adieli.
I think especially the second half, I said Amika and Dan Rigg have been really good. So I think they found it tough in the first half. It was, like I said, quite static, but they've had a little bit more space in the second half to show what they can do. So hopefully that continues now.
Nelson just playing it to Lindsay. He tries to launch it down that left-hand side. Tarima will clear. Leicester will have a throw. Of course, these two sides did in fact play one another last Saturday in the under-18s. West Ham came away as 3-0 winners that afternoon on Saturday up at Leicester. And on the bench, Elisha Sawamni, Josh Ajala. Two players on the bench for the Hammers this evening were on the score sheet that afternoon. Now they find themselves potentially in contention against the Foxes under-21 side. Of course, funnily enough, exactly a year ago this Friday, on the 28th of April, West Ham played Leicester. The result was fairly different to what it was this evening. 2-0 to West Ham that night. Divin Mabama and George Earthy getting on the score sheet for the Hammers, who both find themselves absent from this under-21 side under Steve Potts. There is going to be another substitution for the Foxes. Off comes the first goal scorer of the evening, Chris Popov, for their number 15, Amani Richards.
Yeah, to be fair to him, Popov, he's done quite a lot of running up top, pressing and making it hard for especially Jacob. So it does take it out of you. So probably not a bad change from Leicester.
Amani Richards, the winger, 19-year-old winger, making his 18th appearance in the Premier League 2 this campaign. Mayers. Kelly put under pressure from Braybrook. What have you thought of Ezra Mayers? Of course, he's a young boy coming into the side. How have you found his cameo this afternoon, this evening, in fact?
Yeah, I think the first time I seen him was a derby last game, and I thought he did really well coming into a game. I think first half.
And West Ham get a second here. Great trickery, but unable to get it past the goalkeeper, Brad Young. And Leicester come away with it. Just for a second, Dave, it looked like you could have had a second.
Yeah, obviously really unlucky. I think just a little bit more composure there. Maybe pick out a corner or through the goalie's legs. But ended up just hitting it straight at the goalie. So gave the goalie half a chance.
Talking of end-to-end, Will Alves with a brilliant strike. Just as it looked like West Ham could have made it 3-2 with Adieli, Will Alves looked like he could have got his second and made it 4-2. Look at this from Adieli. The cutback.
Yeah, just the other side, maybe into the corner. That would have been probably the right choice. I know obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, but this one could have been a problem for Jacob as well. This shot obviously at the near post, obviously just wide, but I felt he had it covered the whole way, Jacob.
So just then, Sean Moore has made way for Keenan Appiah-Forson, who of course played in the National League with Dagenham Redbridge. Do you remember much of him this season, David, when you came up against Dagenham and Redbridge, of course, who Keenan Appiah-Forson played for?
Yeah, I mean, when he first went to Dagenham, it took him a while to get into the team. But after that, I think he played, near enough 20 games straight. So obviously I was with my little TST buddy from last year. We went to North Carolina. We played in the seven-a-side tournament. He's a great kid, and obviously I remember when I was at West Ham, he was always coming up and training with the first team. So really strong for a little lad. So I'm pleased he's done well this year.
Of course, you were training in and around him. Do you think he could be a player that could make that step above for next year, or would you say still under 21s football is worth his time?
Well, he's had that step into men's football now, and he's more than capable of coping in that. So obviously that's the decision for the manager, where he sees Keenan next. His next move, is it here and then going out on loan again, or is it time for Keenan to go and play football? So I'm sure there'll be a few decisions made coming up near the end of the season.
Looking lively here, Leicester. Logan Briggs. Just try to flick it up in behind Appiah-Forson. Made a full 90 for Dagenham and Redbridge in their 3-3 draw with Aldershot last weekend. It's his first appearance at Rush Green since the 1st of September, where West Ham came away as 3-1 winners against Everton.
That's the thing about this football, 21s football, is does it prime you ready for stepping up into first team football, which I think you can see Key now. The way he's pressing, knows the tempo that you've got to play at, and that can you obviously affect people around you. And I think just looking at him there, that might have made a difference this season.
Of course, there's going to be a substitution now for West Ham again. Off comes the number 10, Dan Rigg, for the number 15. Either it's going to be the 16, Josh Ajala. My eyesight isn't too good looking back at that green writing over there on the fourth officials board, but it is the number 16, Josh Ajala, signed from Chelsea, a pacey striker who can play with both feet. Has scored regularly throughout his time for West Ham, and when he was at Chelsea too. Have you made much of him, Josh Ajala?
Yeah, to be fair, I was just watching Lewis Orford's ball there, nearly unbelievable there in for Amika there. And look at that pressing there again from West Ham.
Appiah-Forson, the substitute, looking ever so lively, just can't quite take the ball around Brandon cover. It's cleared away by Leicester. Briggs has to be careful there, as he had Emmanuel Richards onto him.
Really strong defending there, got his body in the way of the ball there, made the right decision to keep possession there.
Swire with a lovely turn, and Appiah-Forson linking up ever so well with West Ham's goal scorer, and he wins the foul. Appiah-Forson, great work there down that right hand side.
Yeah, the pace and energy there Keenan had, for me that was definitely a foul. Got pushed from behind, so yeah, no advantage there, so right decision from the referee.
Jamari Lindsay, the player for Leicester that committed the foul, but just before then, look at this link up between the substitute and the goal scorer for West Ham. The ball from deep as he launches it into the area, but that's safe hands there from Brad Young. Are those balls often quite hard to deal with? Are they harder than they look, Dave?
No, I think I would take that ball into the box, especially with not having a challenge. So when you get to probably men's football, you're probably not getting lucky enough to get a ball like that and then not get an elbow.
Chance here for Leicester. Another goal would surely seal the win for them. Amani Richards firing at goalwards and getting a corner kick. Leicester players just making their way into the box, but still wary of a West Ham counter since their substitutions, of course. Pia Forson, one of the players to look out for those in blue. Here he is again, first touch, setting off a pass to Ajala. Of course, fairly new look attack now for West Ham with Josh Ajala, Pia Forson involved. Briggs. We've got just under a quarter of an hour left plus stoppage time. Kamari Swire, the player that managed to pull one back for West Ham early on in this second half. Since that goal, Dave, what's been your verdict of the game?
Yeah, I think West Ham always looked like, obviously, a basketball game, a little bit more end-to-end. Just haven't quite had that chance. I had a few half chances with Dan Rigg and also Mika there.
Good work here from Thomas as he just tries to lift it in the area. He'll get a corner kick in doing so.
But we definitely need that second goal sooner rather than later, just to put a little bit more pressure going into the last 10 minutes.
Surely inject nerves into that Leicester side, but they've got a corner here to try and reinstall that 3-goal lead they took into the half-time break. So again, a player short. Here is Alves, the tricky number 10. Playing it back to Marçal. Thomas Alves and Marçal all linking up well nicely on that far side, but West Ham just trying to keep them away from their penalty area, and so far doing a good job. As Kelly just tries to get an interception there. Foxes try and somewhat keep it alive. Forced all the way back to Brad Young. What have you made of Brad Young and Jacob Knightbridge this evening and in the second half, David?
I think they've both had good games. See, they've not done anything outstanding, but obviously you're dictated sometimes with what kind of service you get. So Brad in the first half had really good handling and distribution, and Jacob the same. So probably Jacob would have done a little bit better with probably their third goal, but I said that happens sometimes, especially if the defender's right in front of you blocking your view.
Lovely link-up play here. Braybrook in search for a brace, forced out to this right-hand side to Marçal. So having a game between the two here, Marçal and Braybrook, but that's short-lived as Mayers clears it away. Gets another West Ham throw, but there is going to be a substitution for the Hammers and a process of elimination. It'll be Alicia Suwanmi to come on for Kamari Swire. So the 16-year-old, the youngest player on the pitch, scored the second goal in the West Ham under-18s game last Saturday against Leicester in their 3-0 win. Can he try and get West Ham's second goal this evening, albeit very different circumstances? You'd think if West Ham were to get a second, the highest scorers in the league could find a third, but they need it soon, don't they, Dave?
Yeah, time is running out, but you said you want to give yourself a chance for the last 10 minutes or so to put pressure on. So I said there's going to be a few tired legs out there now because it has been real end-to-end in the second half.
It's a sloppy challenge there from Lewis Orford, who goes into the book. Do you think that can tend to happen? Of course, when the game gets more open, players get more tired, they give away cheap fouls.
Yeah, definitely. I said, you know, if a player does get the other side of you, you almost want to, it becomes desperation. So you might lunge out because, you know, obviously they can get closer to your goal and obviously cause you problems. Then sometimes it is better doing a cynical one and just bring them down.
Just under 10 minutes to go. Leicester just enjoying the ball in their own half. They try to work it out to this left-hand side as Adieli makes a darting run up against Alves, cuts it back but tries to take it to the byline again, but just shows too much of it to Will Alves. And look at the green room Marcel has to run into. He plays it short and safe. There's the turn of pace from Braybrook because he'll just edge it forward to Marcel. It's a lovely ball. Some West Ham players feel you went a bit early there and it could have been an offside, but the assistant referee kept his flag down. What was your verdict there, Dave?
I think he was on, but I was just almost thinking about the chance again with Amika at the other end there. You know, he's had a couple of chances there tonight, him and Dan. Could they just pull the trigger just a little bit earlier? Sometimes it doesn't always have to be in the perfect position. Sometimes you just need to get the ball on target. I think when you are young, you come through, you don't want to embarrass yourself by missing a target. But I think if you just got that little bit sharper and just the half a second earlier, you might have had a chance there.
This ball in towards that front post. Kelly clears it, but it stays alive for the away side. They've got another corner. West Ham still having to do their defensive duties whilst trailing with a 2-goal lead. Player Marcel providing a short option, but Thomas will fire it into the box towards the back post this time. Logan Briggs will play it out to that left-hand side. It's put into a dangerous area, but Josh Briggs was there for West Ham, and it's fiercely cleared away. Marshall's header didn't look like he knew where it was heading, but it heads to a player in claret and blue.
Really good composure there from Pat, bringing that down, obviously with bodies around him, and then picking out a pass and giving the chance for the lads to get up the pitch.
He rolls it out to that right-hand side. Appiah Forson has looked lively when he's got on the ball. Well, that's a poor pass, and it allows Alves to break forward. 3-on-3 here as Alves glides past Josh Briggs. Does he fancy a chance for a second? He does, but it's another block from Dan Rigg and another corner for the Foxes.
Yeah, I think Ezra there done really good defending there, pushed him wide. And then obviously when he had the shot there, got the block in there. So it was another set piece he needed to defend, which they've done pretty well tonight. But we do need the ball up the other end of the pitch sooner rather than later.
So Will Alves is going to be making way. And on comes Cian Pennant, the number 16. Centre forward, 14 appearances in the Premier League too, only 2 goals. One of those sealing the win away to Fulham, a 3-1 win. Can he try and get a convincing fourth for the Foxes? Albeit they're leading a fairly convincing lead right now and dominating the ball in the West Ham half. It's fed in by Braybrook. Rigg just taps it away, but it ends up playing out to be a nice pass to Marshall. Slip from Marçal, allowing Marshall some more green room. West Ham look lively here through their number 15. Pyer Forson occupying that right hand side. Kelly tracking back on Logan Briggs. Trying to play that switch. Unable to find Armani Richards.
I think when we do get that ball up into their final third, we just need a little bit more quality now, just to keep that pressure on. No silly turnovers. Just give us that chance.
Feels like they've had a lot of joy, West Ham, especially through Emeka Adiele, or chances down that left-hand side towards the near post of Brad Young, but he hasn't just been able to pull the trigger at the right time.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can't always be perfect, can't always be sitting perfect, might be bubbling, might just be under your feet a little bit, but still, can you get that shot away? They're the best strikers that almost get them shots away.
Adiele manages to make something of that, but Young nullifies any West Ham threat following that ball. And look at the room. Thomas is in. As Briggs feeds it back out to Thomas. He tries to come forward down that left-hand side.
Really good work there from Patrick Kelly, getting back in. He's still going. Said 85 minutes now. It's been a tough game, especially in the second half, but he's still got the energy to get back in there.
For sure, props to Lewis Orford and Patrick Kelly. After what's so far been a fairly disappointing result for the Hammers, Kelly and Orford have certainly provided energy in that midfield. Braybrook, who's been another good player for the Leicester, just tries to feed it in behind. It's a good turn there around Adiele. And a brilliant run from Richards, just shows too much of that to Rigg. So he'll try and bring it forward now. West Ham have got 3.5 minutes plus stoppage time to try and salvage something in their last game of the PL2. Of course, they have done enough to finish second. They will be in the playoffs, unlike their opposition this evening. So far, they're just coming out short. They try to make something of this attack through Ajala in towards Soyunmi. Working around the box here, West Ham through Marshall. He'll fancy his right. Trying to pull off the shot there, Dave, but doesn't get the execution.
Yeah, it just took a little bit too long when we got into that 18-yard box. I know obviously Leicester did well getting back in, but I said, can you just move it that little bit quicker just to give yourself that half yard to get a shot there, even with Elijah there on that half turn.
Hasn't really fell for Callum Marshall this evening on his return to Rush Green, has it, Dave?
No, he's been working his socks off like always, to be fair to him, and I said it's always to get a little bit frustrated, easy to get frustrated when obviously, especially you're 3-0 down at half time, but he's kept going, and like you said, he hasn't quite dropped for him today.
Anywhere will do for Leicester. Occupied by Pyer Forson. Jarla's up there, leading the line. Watford playing in a fairly advanced position. Pyer Forson will find Kelly. As they had bodies forward, West Ham, they could try and make the most of those positions as Kelly's forced back to Rigg. Marshall dropping deep. Mayers trying to switch it. Falls kindly back to those in blue. Jamari Lindsay clearing it up. We're into the final 90 seconds. Marçal just timing his pass there as he uses his body to just shield the ball and offload a ball to Thomas, who takes it to the byline. But that's solid keeping there from Knightbridge late on here. Tries to offload a quick ball. Unable to take it past Worm-Leighton. Ajala could get the better of Braybrook here. This is a darting run forward. Ajala, a brilliant leg save, and can he keep it out? He can. Best save of the afternoon.
Yeah, I think obviously he's given him half a chance there, unfortunately. But no, he stood really tall. He's got his obviously foot on it, but great through there by Elijah. Just couldn't find the corner. But he said he managed to just get a foot out there and get on the second ball.
Brilliant save to deny Ajala. A good run too, as he linked up with the other substitute, Elisha Sawunmi. Stoppage time is about to be announced, and it will be 3 minutes, and it looks like Leicester will be getting 3 points. Their last game of the campaign. This is a very unlikely comeback on the cards, but West Ham still look up for it. Encouraging signs for Steve Potts as Orford tries to pull it back in the middle of the West Ham midfield. Briggs almost gifting it back to Pennant. As Tareem is fouled, Leicester believe that isn't the case. West Ham have a free kick, an opportunity to try and pull another back. Start an unlikely comeback. What do you make of West Ham's performance in the second half, now that we're almost at full time?
Yeah, I think, obviously they're giving themselves a mountain to climb after the first half, but the energy, the intensity, everything that they've done, they've tried to do in the right way. Obviously, it has come end to end in the second half because you are chasing the game, but they've definitely given themselves a good account of themselves in this second half.
Richards trying to set up a fourth. The Foxes. Adieli just getting a challenge in on Richards, but they'll try and bring it forward for Ajala as he chases that Leicester back line. Braybrook, who's looked composed all evening, albeit he went into the referee's book. But what have you made of the Leicester players? Have any stood out for you this evening, Dave?
I mean, I think all the goal scorers really. Obviously the Alves third goal coming inside. I know ideally we'd want to defend that better, but the finish was good and he was positive. So he pop off up top, kind of made it really hard for Jacob with his pressing all the time, and obviously got the first goal. So, and then obviously the second goal with Braybrook was a great finish in the top corner. So they did well. I think they stifled West Ham in the first half with their shape. So it's been a little bit more end to end. I think if you were looking for more of a professional performance, you'd want to slow the game down a little bit instead of causing a basketball game. So, but they've managed to still come on the right side of it.
Absolutely. Currently, Tottenham find themselves a goal up at Fulham, which seals their Premier League 2 victory campaign. But can they get a consolation goal here, West Ham? As we approach full time, the ball played in, unable to find a West Ham player, and Braybrook will just edge it out to that left-hand side, but that is full time. Leicester find themselves on the winning end. West Ham won the second half, but were unable to fight back from that 3-goal deficit they found themselves in at the end of the first half. An excellent first half for the Foxes. A goal from Kamari Swire gave West Ham some hope, but it was not meant to be for the Hammers this evening. So we'll just go over the goals, but Dave, do you have any final pieces about the game?
Yeah, I think it was one of them games where Leicester were really clinical, capitalised on a few of our mistakes, but credit to Leicester, so they stifled it in the first half and made it really tough for West Ham to break them down, and that's not an easy thing to do with West Ham being one of the top the top goal scorers in this league this year. So fair play to Leicester, but I said a more positive second half from West Ham, and looks like we were going to score just a few half chances, just really couldn't capitalise.
Well, thank you, Dave. Here, of course, is the start of the game. It's the first goal of the evening. Popov putting it goalwards. Knightbridge just unable to keep that out of the back of the net. And as that went in, Leicester came out looking for a second so quickly. Touch from Thomas trying to take it round Rigg, but Braybrook, space in front of him. The goal of the lot from their number 8, Sammy Braybrook. And then here's their third. What a run from Alves, wasn't that, Dave?
Yeah, of course, like I said, you wouldn't want him to go outside, but I think at that stage, I know Michael Forbes was probably worried about the man inside, but definitely the main threat was the shot. So you needed to get a little bit more pressure on that.
And early on in the second half, Kamari Swire heading it goalwards. Brad Young unable to palm it away. Gave West Ham a glimmer of hope. But after a very end-to-end game, it ends here. West Ham United 1, Leicester City 3. They'll be in the playoffs, West Ham, but it was not meant to be this evening. That is the end of it from myself, Ollie Ordis, and Dave Martin. Dave, thank you very much for joining me in the gantry. And everyone, have a lovely weekend. But it ends here, West Ham United 1, Leicester City 3.